that don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my lovely and talented co-host.
Hello, JD.
Melissa. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Well, we are super excited today, and if this podcast makes you as excited as we are, we'd really appreciate it if you could go out there, give us a rating, give us a review. We're trying to pull in more listeners and share real estate and life knowledge, which I think our guest today is going to be great at helping us achieve that goal. I'm really excited to introduce to you guys Jim Sheils. Jim is an experienced real estate investor with over 2,000 rehabs. He's now specializing in the build to rent strategy and has a company that he leads, Southern Impression Homes. He's also the author of The Family Board Meeting, just went to #1 on the Wall Street Journal's list. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's right, JD.
All right. Well, awesome. Jim, we're super excited to have you on the show today. Some of our audience might know who you are, but for those that don't, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me. My name's Jim Sheils. I've been a real estate investor for 24 years now, gone through the trenches of rehabs and foreclosures, and made my way into the build-to-rent niche, and had some big lessons along the way. And also, through my real estate endeavors, was able to build an impact business called 18 Summers, which is a family education business, which really is about helping entrepreneurs or real estate investors succeed at home, so you don't lose your family while you're building your portfolio and your endeavors, because it's not easy, our game, but it's doable to have both. I think you can have success in real estate and success at home.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Jim, can you so where you're at right now, you've done a lot of this stuff, but right now you're in that build to rent space. Can you help us understand a little bit more about what that is? And then also, how are you making it profitable?
Yeah. We stumbled into it, with a lot of direction. You don't know the direction that you're going in, but I was doing bulk foreclosures for quite a while, since 2008, after the meltdown. We were working with a lot of banks, buying a lot of, basic single family homes, renovating them and keeping them for ourselves, or working with investors and helping them build portfolios. And we got to about 2014, 2015, and man, where we were in our hub market, Jacksonville, the deals just weren't there anymore. They were getting bid up. It was hard to get the rehab numbers to work. And my now building partner and I said, what if we tried to build our own properties? Instead of, fixing up old ones, what if we could actually build? And there was a bigger barrier to entry, a learning curve. But that first year together, we built about $3 million worth of property, just a small group of houses in Northwest Jacksonville. Fast forward 9 years later, we did $185 million in sales last year. So we were able to span this model over that time from just Jacksonville to about 14 major markets in Florida. And there was just a lot of differences I found. I hung up my rehab shoes, which are great, and rehabs are great. They were a way that I made money for years. It was who I was, my identity in the rehab game. The real estate game. But for build to rent, we found that for ourselves and for investors we were working with, we could offer something different that had some real perks. And I'm sure we'll talk about those today. But we did not expect to become builders or go into this. But as we started to step further, we could see the need, we could see how it could be systemized, and here we are today.
Okay. Well, so what really, really interests me, and hopefully our audience as well, is how are you guys going in there, finding a piece of land? I assume that you have to buy land at a discount, deciding that it's worth it, and then being able to build, rent, and turn a profit. Or are you just selling the houses? You're building them and selling them to investors, or are you building them and then also putting renters in them, managing them, and building a long-term rental portfolio?
We do both. So we own our own properties. Anything we build, we keep properties in that development or area, obviously. But we've developed a real niche for helping people with the overall turnkey business. So how do you find the land, entitle the lands, go through all that, do the building? That's a big process. Sure. And we have a team of over 170 people now in-house that help make that happen, because there is definitely a different amount of steps from finding an old house, getting it fixed up, to getting a raw piece of land, getting it entitled, getting it approved, doing the building. And so we try to provide that for people. So for investors, we work with mom and pop investors who are buying their first property, to some of the biggest institutions, JP Morgan, that hire us to, build 150 property development for them that they're going to rent out. But the premise is still the same. We focus on high growth areas in Florida, where there's population growth, economic growth, a good affordability index, which just means, the average family income for a household could afford the average house. And then, healthy supply and demand. You guys are in Florida, so the wind's at our back right now. Yeah. We've got a lot of population coming in, so we like that. We want to go where, there's less supply than there is demand. And right now, that's every area we're building in seems to have that. Mm-hmm. So we supply it all, JD. You don't have to get you guys would know, getting construction loans, that's kind of quirky and a pain in the tail. You don't have to do that with us. We build the house just with your simple deposit, right to closing. You just get that final loan at the end. And then from there, the majority of people use us for management. We were in management before we were in building. Some people want to manage their own, or some of the bigger institutions will manage their own, but the majority of the people use us for the long term. So we're going right from full service, whether it's a single family, a duplex, or a quad. That's our specialty, those residential real estate investment properties. And we help build portfolios in again, about 14 different markets with management in all those markets.
Sure. And would you say that primarily these people that are coming in, buying these turnkey properties from you, are running them as long-term rentals or as short-term rentals, a combination of both?
Yeah, long-term rentals is our focus. We did some mid-tier renting, but our main focus is long-term. Now, I like short-term rentals. I own some short-term rentals, but for our model and what we're doing, we are still looking at the long-term rental game.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, if somebody wanted to work with you guys, they would come and say, "Hey, I have this much money. I want you to build a house." Or are you guys building out these communities and then marketing them to investors as turnkey rentals?
Yeah, so you don't have to. We are constantly building. We're in a pretty good position. We have a partner now. We were acquired, or part of our company was acquired in December by a group called Sumitomo. You've probably seen them over the news. They're a Japanese company. They build about 17,000 homes worldwide a year. Now, instead of going to banks, they bankroll us as our parent companies, which is great. That means we can keep building, so people don't have to wait. During the pandemic, all builders got behind. You would wait 12, 18, 24 months. Now that we work for our backlog and we have this new partner in our business, we're building on demand. Meaning that you can have a new construction home done in less than 60 days through us.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is, so we have over 6,000 lots because we really stacked up in 2019, 2020, which was really good timing. So we're constantly building. So again, you don't have to get the construction loan. You're able to come to us and choose. Like, first thing we like to do is diagnose, where are you looking to be? Are you looking more for cash flow or for growth? Because our markets have both, but certain ones will have certain advantages. what's your initial buy-in? What are you comfortable with? Some people just want single family homes. Some people say, hey, I want to take advantage of my Fannie and Freddie loans as much as possible. I want 2 quads. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's look at that. So we kind of help diagnose and then prescribe. Here's where we are. Here's the properties we have available in different markets. Here's your performas. So we kind of run them through the whole process. So that they're a part of it, but never on their own. All steps of the way. How Turnkey really started years ago was, well, who do you use? People probably go to you guys and say, well, JD, Melissa, who do you use for insurance? Who do you use for management? Do you have any lenders that you guys prefer? So we always just give that to them so that they know every step of the way, from insurance to closing to management, for the property.
Yeah, that's great. I do think, so in real estate investing, you either need time, money, or knowledge, and you need 2 of those things to be able to invest. I think this really fits somebody who has maybe less time, but does have money and doesn't necessarily need the same level of knowledge as it would take for them to go out and build something brand new from the ground up. So I think you guys really fill a niche that there's a lot of busy professionals that want to turn their active income into passive income, but they haven't been able to make that jump because they don't have the extra time. And you guys can fill that void really well. And it sounds like you've got it down to a science, like a assembly line. If you can go from the ground up in 60 days on a new build, that's crazy. I can't even tie my shoes in 60 days.
And it takes us longer to build, but since we're always building and always have inventory coming online, people can close on they can contract a property today, it's going to be done or it's done. We're building that fast. Although we have demand, we're always having properties available. That's something that we wanted to differentiate ourselves from other competition out there, where they might say, hey, they'll do a great product, but it's going to be 14 months. We said, how can we have such a bigger rotation where we always have finished product available, ready in 90 days or less? Mm-hmm. And like you said, JD, our model is perfect for the people who don't want a second or third job. The 3 of us are active real estate investors. Our client is normally someone who's too busy. They might be a top-notch real estate agent with a huge real estate transactional business, but they're in a different area without the fundamentals we have. So they want to come to us. We have lots of doctors and dentists. We have lots of technology people. They put in big hours and do well for themselves, but they're not exactly sure how to get into the real estate. So yeah, we are definitely people who are looking to be involved in real estate, but want a little more of a passive role. They're looking for that longer term portfolio to help eventually buy back their time and have that residual income.
Right. Now, I know that each area, each submarket's going to be different. Each project's going to be different. But if you were talking about your typical property, long-term rental, and your typical investment versus return on investment, can you give us any idea? You guys are building the houses for X, selling them for Y, and they rent for $2,500 a month or $3,000 a month. What is?
It does vary quite a bit, JD. I mean, our range goes from $250,000 for a single family up to $800,000 for a quad, and that could be cheaper for a quad in our, interior markets like Ocala compared to Jacksonville, which is more of a major market, and then rents will go from, $1,700 well over $5,000, depending on that. In our cash flow, we go on a cap rate usually between 5 and 7%. Mm-hmm. And average people put down about 25%. So that's about our average numbers. And again, it really does vary for the markets. Citrus Springs, Florida, which is a great interior market, well, it's going to be a cheaper buy and cheaper rent than Fort Myers, which is the fastest growing market in the nation right now. But we do have about that range, 250 to 800. And then the returns will be, between a 5 and 7 cap.
So what it sounds like is you kind of have a range of different products that are going to fit each one of your investors different and gives them a choice. Now you're not able to, buy a $30,000 mobile home and get a 22% return, but that's a lot more active. That's a lot more work than coming in using a conventional loan to purchase one of your investment properties. And then, you're kind of hands off. Obviously, rental ownership is not completely hands off, but a lot more than the trailer.
Nice thing about new construction is there's longer warranties. There's definitely less maintenance and repairs and less turnover. Something that I always wanted to try to do for my clients, working in the, rehab foreclosure game. I had something called a 3-year curse, and I own a lot of these. So I'm just telling you though, but after 3 years, even if I did new heating and cooling, plumbing, kitchens, baths, after 3 years, my maintenance and repairs took a steeper increase, and I just had to budget for them. The new construction, 9 years in, we've been able to avoid a lot of that, which is really, really nice for us and for our clients. And the buy-ins, like you said, are different. Our cheapest buy-in, probably about $65,000, when you're getting a loan, is about the cheapest. So we're going to be higher. But when you start to put in some of our internal rate of returns of the depreciation, the debt reduction, we go with very conservative numbers, well below on rental growth and market growth.
Mm-hmm.
We're hitting on average a little over a 20% IRR for our people, internal rate of return, which I'm sure you're talking about.
Which beats the 401ks out almost every time, I think.
Very much so. Very much. You have a little more control, a little more levers you can pull compared to those.
And you can hold it forever, and it's going to go up in values. When I look around, especially in our market, the price that they were paying for beachfront lots and houses in 1980 compared to where they're at now, if you hold it long enough, it goes in the right direction.
Exactly. We look long-term with our real estate. We always tell people, again, this is coming from a flipper, in that if you're looking to buy one of our new construction, flip it in 6 months, don't come to us. Yeah. We build long-term portfolios. And now with our case studies, the people that started building portfolios with us, 9 years ago, they have made way more money by holding those properties than had they sold them quickly in a year. So we are always looking long-term, and you got to have the right product, we feel, to do long-term. Because if you have a property that's always having maintenance repairs, always having turnovers, that makes it tough. And this new construction model seems to, you can never eliminate, as you guys know, but you can minimize.
Yeah, that's great. Well, before we get out of here, I'm hoping that you could maybe give us a rundown of what your book is, so that if it's interesting to any of our audience, they'll know what they're getting into.
Yeah. So the family board meeting was a passion project about being a real estate investor that didn't want to make the mistakes he had seen well before him at different events he went to, guys with big balance sheets and no family life, or they had lost their family, they were strangers, they were divorced, whatever have you. So that was kind of more of a fear thing that I had. We're saying, how do I be successful in real estate and successful at home? And we started to share this one strategy, this family strategy that I was doing with my children. And we tell about our story and the overwhelm and the confusion that I'm sure a lot of investors out there are going through, because it is like drinking out of an open fire hydrant at first. But we tell a bit of our story and a strategy that we've now used for, 12 years in our family. Over 300,000 families worldwide are using it. We're hoping with this third edition that just came out of the book, we'll go to 2 million families. But if you're looking for a simple way to stay connected to your family and still be successful on the real estate side and the investing side and the career side, it's a great short book that's helped a lot of people, gotten onto a lot of bigger platforms and stages that I never expected to catch on, but it did, and I'm very glad it has.
Awesome. Well, if our audience wanted to find out more about you, more about the book, or more about your guys' turnkey business, where can we send them to get more information?
Yeah, if you want to go to jnjplaybook.com, that's a playbook my wife and I did, our passive income playbook, kind of about our journey. That'll bring you both to information about our new construction turnkey model and some more about our family education. But jnjplaybook.com is a great starting point.
Awesome. Jim, well, thank you so much for coming on. You're a wealth of knowledge, and we really appreciate you taking the time to see us. I hope the kiddo feels better, and tell your wife that we really missed having her.
Yeah, we'll have her on the next one. She missed having you guys to be with you guys too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.